My first YouTube video. So my name's Claire, I'm 31. About 3 years ago, I started making little vlogs, little day in the lives. I kind of like grew a following on TikTok and I kind of grew a following on Instagram, and I still have this insecurity that like, even though I have followers, they don't really know me. So this is the good stuff, just for the true believers. I was homeschooled till I was 10, and I was raised by a preacher and a teacher. My mom homeschooled us and then became a public school teacher. I'm very grateful to have gone into public school whenever I did. It was a pretty easy transition, and I think I did a lot better in a public school environment. I'm very pro public school. Whatever works for you. I was raised very heavily involved in non-denominational evangelical Christian church. So that's the kind of church that my dad preached at. I fell in love with youth group culture, and you haven't ever met a girl that was more like a poster child for youth group. I loved it there. I had so much fun. It was like my social outlet. Whenever I felt awkward and weird at school, I felt like I really knew my place at church. Went on every trip. I graduated from high school here, and then I was blessed with a full ride academic scholarship to a university in Arkansas. The summer between freshman and sophomore year, I signed up for like a random, like they called it a missionary assignment, to be matched with a church and basically just do whatever they needed done. And I was matched with a church in Crested Butte, Colorado, and I had the best summer of my life. It was dreamy. I made these friends. I felt very close to God there. And when I came back and was sitting in my, anthropology class in Russellville, Arkansas, I just thought, what is the point? What is the point? Why am I here? Literally, why am I here? During this time, I was also obsessed with hair. I invited the sorority girls to come to my dorm room, and I would do their hair before functions, and I'd charge them $10 for an updo. And I really fell in love with the social aspect and the beauty aspect of doing hair. So whenever I got invited to do an internship at my home church back in Fayetteville, I was like, yeah, it feels like God is asking me to take a leap of faith by dropping out of college and doing ministry instead. So I did. And about 2 weeks into my student ministry internship, I knew this was not for me. It felt very administrative. It also felt a little icky, to be honest, to see behind the scenes of planning a camp for students and talking about how Saturday nights they're going to be most tired and emotional and ready for a spiritual breakthrough. I didn't feel God. I didn't feel God there. And I felt like I saw some things about church that I didn't like. I was working in a coffee shop, and I decided I wanted to go to hair school. I thought hair could be a really cool ministry. I also just enjoyed it. I enrolled at Paul Mitchell School, Arkansas, and loved it. Like, immediately knew I loved doing hair, and I loved how it was like you learned something, then you did it immediately. I'm a huge fan of trade schools now. Like, trade schools rock. And so in this time, I meet my husband, and that can be a whole other story too, but we fell in love very quickly, and we got married 9 months after we met each other. Now, he was in med school, so just under a lot of pressure all the time. He was in his second year. First 2 years of our marriage, we were just like so young. I was 20 when we got married. I was 21. I turned 21 on our honeymoon. So then he matched for his residency in Denver, Colorado. Match day, when we found out we were moving to Denver, was like seriously the happiest day of my life. I was sobbing with happiness because I wanted to live in Colorado. I love Colorado. So we move, we completely build a new community from the ground up. I'm doing hair. I had the most toxic job ever in my life in Denver. But I was still just like excited to be doing hair and chatting and gossiping and getting tea and making women feel beautiful. loved it. And then ended up working in a salon that I really loved with great girls. And when we first moved, we were like we were visiting churches, and we were just kind of like, I don't look forward to this. I don't look forward to sitting in a service. I'm seeing things about church that turn me off. I haven't learned anything new in 3 years. And every church that we're visiting just seems to be a program, like an infomercial for church. Felt like a lot like we were running on fumes as far as my husband. He was working all the time. He was depressed. We had no money, and then we'd go to church and they'd be telling us to like volunteer for them and do a home group and do all these things. And we were just like, no, like we don't want to. We are trying to keep our head above water. Like we can't give to something else right now. And so we kind of just like allowed ourselves to stop going, and it felt, that was kind of like the beginning of our deconstruction. We made friends in Denver that were going through the same thing spiritually, and kind of had our own group, and that felt really good. And that felt very much like holy. So then I get pregnant. Gray had finished residency. He's an ER doctor. He'd finished residency. I'd fallen pregnant after like 7 or 8 months of trying. We're in this rent house that's so awesome, great location, but tiny. And like overnight, I went from thinking like, I'll never move back to Arkansas to like, who cares? Who actually cares? I want a house. I want to be able to afford, as Cardi B said, I need cheese for my egg. I was like, I don't care where I live as long as I can stay home with my baby and have enough money to go out and get coffee and do stuff to my house. He had an amazing job in like a week. Like a week after we decided to start looking at houses here, he landed like an amazing job. They pay better. They pay doctors better in Arkansas. So we find a house, we buy it sight unseen, we come back to Arkansas, and all I care about is my baby. I have Goldie, my daughter, and it rocked my world. It rocked my world in a good way, and I'd always been like really scared of becoming a mother. So I start making TikToks, and a few different things. I think I like gained a following from a few different things, but the first time I saw my following jump, it was from a video that I posted about things that were easier about having a baby than I expected them to be. Overall, the entire experience of having a baby, from birth to caretaking, has been much easier on us than we expected. And I became a little bit addicted to the way that TikTok opened up my world. And I could live in Arkansas and still feel connected with like moms everywhere, and I could be in my house and feel connected with all my mom friends. And I just had fun with it. I've always been chronically online. I was like a Snapchat queen. I've always posted on my Insta stories like, as if I have a bunch of people watching it when I had no followers. And I also felt a lot like having a baby all of a sudden prioritized my life. I really liked that, and I also felt like really done with hating myself and really done with like not living in alignment with like my values. And a lot of that had to do with like caring so much about what people think, like caring so much about being liked. That's kind of what got me everywhere. That's what got me far, was performing, with doing hair. I was a chameleon to make my clients feel comfortable, but I put the greatest emphasis on being liked. And whenever I had my baby, I was like, no, I need to do the work to find out who I am and be that person consistently. I do think posting, an upside to it is like it forces everyone in your life to be seeing the same version of you. And it like makes you have some consistency across your personalities. I'm a Gemini Cancer, BTW. I'm an Enneagram 7 for whatever, if you care. I then had my second baby, my son Oak, my little angel. And like, I am just living in this stage of life that I have always dreaded. I always thought I was going to be trapped in. And I'm really enjoying it. I love the routine. I love having a family. I adore it, actually. I often feel like I'm cosplaying mom. I think a lot of young moms, I'm 31, newer moms do feel like, and 31's young, do feel like, when did I become the mom? Wait, I'm the mom. That's kind of like my story, and I just like having a good time online. I like beauty. I like wearing makeup, and I like doing my hair. I don't miss doing hair. Sometimes when I'm watching like Queer Eye or like a makeover show and they do the hair and then the person like starts crying, I do miss that, but not enough to like go back. My kids are 3 and 1, and life's crazy. I want to have one more baby, but not yet. I want a bigger age gap between my second and third. That is a little bit about me. What you can expect from this channel is cutesy homemaking things, beauty things, me treating it like my podcast. If I want to talk long form about something, I'm just gonna hit record and upload it. And I also like eat a high protein diet. I like to share high protein meals and just like meals. And I love the holidays. Okay. And for the girls, on my vision board for the year is an 100K YouTube plaque. I hate saying my goals, especially when it's like follower related, but that's the truth. That's just the truth. And that's the end of the video.